All right, welcome back to another season of Shelf Life. This season, I'm going to be making you some of my favourite recipes based on the different aisles of the supermarket. And every week, I'm going to be in a different aisle showing you what to do with the ingredients that live there. This week, I found myself in the meat aisle. I'm going to be making you Calabrian road trip spaghetti and meatballs, Bun Cha style. Come on, then. So, what was there in the meat aisle? We had some amazing beef mince, we had some pork mince. Here I've got some andouille, which I'm going to show you an amazing sauce with. And I've got some spaghettini, okay? Not from the meat aisle, but from the supermarket. So the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to put a tomato sauce on, and we're going to be finishing our meatballs in that. I'm going to show you the meatballs in a minute. Chill out. But first up, I'm just going to blend whole plum tomatoes. You definitely don't want it super smooth like those cartons that you can buy. Cool, that is it. That's all you need to do. And then that goes straight in the pot. Now all we need to do is literally drop stuff in and everything's just gonna poach. This is kind of like loosely based on an amazing tomato sauce by the eponymous Marcella Hazan. I just call it Hazan sauce because I make it all the time. But it's basically like just a poached tomato sauce with butter and onion, and you just leave it to cook for an hour and it's absolutely nuts. So andouille's in, and then as per Marcella's sauce, I'm just gonna get an onion. You can stab it a bit. I sometimes do this to help the onion release its flavor a little bit into the sauce. That goes in. Looks weird, but trust me. I told you before, just trust me, okay? Now a bit of sugar, about a teaspoon. Got about 100 grams of butter, that sits in there too. Then what else? A couple of sprigs of basil, just to perfume the sauce. And then a little bit of salt. And that's your sauce done. Mental. And it's so delicious, honestly. Goes with everything. Legit. I need to wash my hands now. So that's going to be the sauce that we're going to be finishing our meatballs in. We're going to be grilling our meatballs, okay? Some people like to fry their meatballs, but I love making massive meatballs. That way you can grill them and you can keep the inside of the meatball really nice and tender. Basically, if you fry it, you get little hot spots and no one likes that. So grilling is one way to make meatballs really good. I've got a few other techniques for you guys as well, so that every time you can get amazing meatballs, you can change out the flavors. But hey, let's make some meatballs. Okay, so my meatballs start with a panade, which is basically just breadcrumbs, stale breadcrumbs. I'm using fresh today, it doesn't really matter too much. And what we're gonna do, usually you can hydrate that with milk, you can hydrate it with water, but I'm gonna be hydrating it with a pureed onion. That's crazy. So all you wanna do is roughly chop this, because this is gonna go in the blender. Rough chop. Really doesn't matter, but you don't wanna put it in whole, because then it won't blend. Get your garlic. I've got 6 fat cloves. You can go more, you can go less. Garlic's one of the, you can put 20 heads in if you want. But I don't recommend that, so don't do that. Actually, blending it like this kind of tempers it a little bit, cools it down a little bit. It can be a bit hot, garlic, but when you blend it like this, it kind of chills it out a bit, so don't worry. Oh yeah! Okay, so it might seem a bit weird, but as I said before, this is all you need to hydrate the bread. That means you're not adding anything extra that you don't need in there. So I was messing around with a meatball recipe for our cookbook, and I tried this, and it was absolutely amazing. So I've been doing it ever since. I highly recommend it, along with all the other tips and tricks I'm going to be giving you. Then we're just going to mix this around until it becomes one, and all that bread will just say like, all right, onion, how are you? They'll get to know each other. And the garlic, don't forget him. So we're gonna pack that down, move him to the side. Don't need him anymore. Now we need to wait. We need to wait for several minutes for that to hydrate. So in the meantime, he's for my balls. So So I can't continue with it. Cheers, bro. Should we continue?
Yeah, you good?
So we should we do this? This is the second tip on how to make really good meatballs, okay? You want to make like a really tasty, delicious seasoned base featuring egg, 2 large, if you're asking. And we're going to be adding seasoning to this base, and we're going to be adding a little bit of the meat. Here I've got some Italian 5-spice. This is just a blend of spices that are commonly featured in Italian cooking, but you might not have seen them all together very frequently. So we've got cinnamon, we've got fennel seed, we've got clove, nutmeg, and we've got black peppercorn. In that goes, we've got a tablespoon and a half of flaked sea salt. Now we're going to be adding 1/3 of the meat, 1/3 of the pork, and 1/3 of the beef. Delicious aged beef mince. If you can do, get your butcher to grind the meat for you fresh, because it tends to hold up a little bit better, and then you can control the texture of your meatballs. Or indeed any recipe that features ground meat or meats, right?
That sounds so gross in my ears.
Apparently this sounds great. Okay, so now I've got like a wet, pasty mix that looks super weird. Is add the rest of your meat. I'm just using one hand here. It's all you need. You don't need to get both hands involved. Okay, and then some fresh oregano, some dried oregano, and then I've got some cold Parmesan cheese. So remember, we've made like a wet, pasty mix for the base, and then we're gonna be passing it through all of the other meat so as to not overwork all of the meat. Right, that's it. That's what you're looking for. Right? So now we can just roll these up. And remember, we're going big with these. So I've got a tray here. It's not clean, it's not clean. So look, why road trip Calabrian meatballs? I mean, you can probably guess, but earlier this year, like many of us out there, and look, I'm not special. We all had intentions to go traveling, we all had intentions to go on holiday. Maybe we didn't, but I for one had a road trip booked in the south of Italy from Puglia to Sicily, and I always wanted to visit Calabria, the home of andouille sausage. Yeah man, look, it was cancelled because this year's been cancelled, so didn't get a chance to go. So I wanted to make a recipe inspired by that road trip. But instead of ending up in Sicily, we're going to be ending up much further east in Vietnam. We're going to be inspired by Bun Cha, which is a really cool Vietnamese dish that I love to eat. It's often referred to as like Vietnamese spaghetti meatballs. It's vermicelli with grilled pork meatballs, and it's served with lots of fresh stuff in the bowl. And that's kind of how we're going to be serving our spaghetti meatballs today, and it's going to be absolutely nuts good. So just watch this until the end, and then you'll find out what we do. If you've got any leftover mix, there's a really cool thing that you can do, which I'm going to be showing you next. And I'm not sure how it's going to go because I've only made it once, but it's going to be fun. All right, that's meatballs done. These guys are ready to go into the grill, and then they're going to be finishing in the sauce. I'm going to wait for my sauce, then I'm going to grill my meatballs, but in the meantime, have a look at this. Can I help you at all? Of course, andouille derives from the French word andouille, which means sausage. It's a tube of spicy pork pate made from salt, dried Calabrian chilies and pork, and that's it. It hails from the south of Italy, from Spaghetti in Calabria, just where I wanted to go on my road trip. Never mind. Much easier to find these days, but if you can't find it at your local grocer, you could switch it out for other spicy Italian charcuterie, chopped up fine perhaps. At a push, you could use fresh chorizo, but it won't quite do the same thing. If there's anything else you need, just let me know. In the meantime, let's get back to cooking. Bonus round. So as I was saying, I've got some leftover meatball mix. So what I'm gonna do is make some fried rice paper Vietnamese spring rolls to go into my bowl. And all you need to do is you need to get rice paper disc. This is the same thing they use for summer rolls. Really, really good, but you can also fry them. And you just need to dip them into warm water. It's got a tiny little bit of sugar in there, and the sugar helps them to caramelize in the hot oil. Right now they're kind of like pliable, but as it sits there, it's gonna get like really supple. So you need to move relatively quickly. So we don't have much time and there's only one take. So I'm gonna put some mozzarella into the middle of my 40-gram meatball, and then I'm gonna roll it up, just so it's like a little sausage. Then once you've got your sausage, grab a basil leaf, lay him on, and by now, it's been what, like 24.5 seconds? The rice paper will be good to roll. You want to turn it one revolution and keep it quite tight, kind of like you're making sushi, and then you want to pinch it at each end, kind of like you're making ravioli, in order to get the air bubbles out, and then fold, and then slam them to the end like that, and then these guys sit up in the fridge for about 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna fry them. All right, so here are my meatballs. Legit. They look amazing. The temperature in there is like 54 degrees right in the middle, so they're not fully cooked through. So as I said before, these guys are gonna finish poaching in the sauce here. So all I need to do is just get rid of the onion. You could definitely hold on to that and put him on some toast. That'd be delicious. And then you just wanna drop them in. And you can turn the heat off now. Beep. So now they're all nestled in one layer. I'm now just gonna get the lid again and I'm gonna pop it on. So look, dudes, that gives me about 15 or 20 to sort the pasta out, fry my spring rolls, allow these guys to finish poaching, bless them. They're nearly there. Yeah, and then I can build a bowl of it, crush it with my mates, hopefully, and yeah. Oh, legit. All right, so my pasta's done. My sauce is on, my meatballs are over there, they're hot. Chuck the pasta into here. I'm gonna be adding a little bit of pasta water and finishing it on the heat. And then for that last minute of cooking, the pasta's just absorbing all of that tomato sauce. Look, pasta's just a sponge, so all it's doing now is just dragging all of the rest of that sauce, making itself one with the sauce. And this is looking absolutely nuts. All right, off the heat. Finish it with Parmesan, and then just stir that through. Oh man. And then he's just going down on the plate. And then head back to your meatballs and then dot them around. Just look, man. Are you absolutely joking? Just to remind you that there's a Parmesan in it. Just look at that. That's insane. That on its own, fantastic. But with all the Bun Cha garnish, you're never gonna look back, I'm telling you. It's absolutely wicked. Eat it. So I'm just gonna sort myself out a portion. Chuck down a bunch of the andouille spaghetti and nestle in one of the beautifully soft, spiced meatballs. Then you want like a big bunch of herbs. Try and bruise them in your hand. I've gone with basil and mint. Mint's really interesting in Italian cooking. Pickled Calabrian chilies and a bunch of toasted pine nuts crushed to mimic that. Amazing peanut, fresh radicchio dressed in a little bit of lemon. And then lastly, we're going down with our amazing spring roll, man. Oh my days. Oh, man. That is the absolute ticket. That is so nice. The andouille sauce is like really tart and rich. The meatballs with that Italian 5-spice kind of take you to a different place. It tastes Vietnamese, man. And then you've got all of the textures in the bowl that mimic Bun Cha, which is one of my favorite things to eat. when I go out for Vietnamese. And as much as I love spaghetti and meatballs, as much as I love Bun Cha, this is something entirely new and extremely exciting. Woo! The spring roll is the best bit. I'm in a car heading east somewhere from Sicily to Puglia, through the mountains. You know, the wind's in my hair. I'm on the crest of a hill. It's some sort of town. I'm careering east from Sicily to Puglia on the toe of the Italian boot. And in my mind's eye, I am crushing this in my Fiat Punto. That's where I am. What? Okay, ladies and gents, thank you for tuning in to the first installment of the new season of Shelf Life. I hope you enjoyed it, and as ever, if you enjoyed what you watched, you can like the video and subscribe to our channel where you can find many more videos with other cooking in them. If you know of anybody that has recently been bereft of a holiday and you think they need cheering up, send them this video. As ever, it's goodbye from me, and it's keep on cooking.